savagery.
Hello, and welcome once again to Wandering Monster, the Monster Manual of Podcasts. I am John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
I am Ian A. Servas.
I am Mr. Paschke.
And despite Charles begging me not to fuck up the intro tonight, I did. I forgot that we are America's test table. Now, I have this weird thing on the clock app, on the Tic Tacs, on the Talk, if you will, where occasionally something I do will make people happy, where they'll be like, "Woo, John!" And I did one of those the other day. Someone else had posted a TikTok about how when one of your characters min-maxes, when one of the players in your games min-maxes and gets their AC so high that you can't hit them, how do you respond? Do you, start dealing for elemental damage or condition damage? Do you start throwing heavier and harder hitters at them? And his response at the end was like, no, you don't do any of that shit. He spent all of his time and effort playing into trying to be invincible in a game where you pretend to be cooler stuff. Let him have it. Let him just enjoy being hard to hit. And it immediately clicked for me, that is I hardly ever play human characters, except in this where Ian makes most of my characters, so I have to. I like playing inhuman characters. I like playing mages. I like playing mighty warriors. I don't usually play scribes because that's all I fucking do. And my
Fair.
my escape from reality fantasy is not sitting around writing books. Actually, that's the drudgy part of my life. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love doing it, but it just struck me immediately that the reason I play, we talked a lot over the last, or rather, I've monologued a lot, and everyone's had to listen to me talk about the various aspects of role-playing games and collaborative storytelling. But one of the key things, in my opinion, is getting to escape into something cool and being something cool and playing around with what you wish you could be. Sometimes it's very simple. Sometimes it's extravagant. But it's important that you get to do that. And if, as a GM, your response to a player trying to be a badass is to shoot them down and cut their legs out from under them and make them feel shitty, maybe don't be a GM. I think that's something the four of us can agree on pretty readily. Ian obviously has.
Well, we've got the best GM, and no one else can have
Ian. Ian obviously does everything he can to help us have fun and enjoy our characters. Even when the going gets hard, we get to be badasses. And so that intros into what we are doing tonight. We are playing an OSE game, OSE being Old School Essentials, which kind of takes its cues from old school advanced D&D.
The real D&D.
The real D&D. Any other D&D is
D&D.
Some
D&D
grognard's
too
going to be
far.
like you're mixing AD&D and BX, but we'll let people.
Well, you know what? That's
decide.
because I've been dealing with BDSM all day.
That's right.
So, while we're playing tonight, don't lose your head. The intro to this text is I really like how high level powers work, but I hate the number crunching. I hate the number crunching and the having to deal with the math of okay, well, you killed these 3 dragons, so now you have 17,642,800 XP, and you need 9,100 million left to go before. And so he's like, okay, after a certain point, you are level X. You're a badass. And here is how to be a fucking badass.
One of the first lines of the book is "Welcome to Level X," which I thought was great.
It's
and this is Old School and Cool Volume 3 we'll be doing tonight from Night Owl Publishing. We're very excited. This is sort of a zine. Yeah, this is sort of a zine format. I wouldn't say rules light, but not enormous. RPG for those of us who cut our teeth on shit AD&D was my first. Oh, let's go around the circle real quick. What was your first exposure to role-playing games?
Well, I mean, if besides playing like old TTRPGs on like DOS, my first time actually slinging dice with the actual humans and not something computer mediated, was at Cub Scout camp. I was a counselor, so I learned how to play 3.0 because I never had anyone to play 2.0 with and early. I just collected the books but never got to play with humans. So
I feel like that's a touching and relatable story.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Patchkey?
3.5. My older sister had like some of the books, and I built some characters. Didn't get to play that much, only like a couple of campaigns, and then just hardcore into 5e.
Yeah, I had the same cousin who introduced me to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Metallica, and Typo Negative at different points in time. But like, that's a good ass cousin right there.
That is pretty fun.
My introduction to Typo Negative was through playing Blood the FPS for PC. Sorry to cut you off there, John.
It's okay. That's a good story. I was at my dad visited some college friends with me in tow as a little tyke, and I found their old D&D like basic D&D and advanced D&D rule books, and asked my dad about them. And my dad's friends were like, "Oh, is that cool? Yeah. Well, if John wants them, he can have them." And my dad was like, "No, please God, no." But it was too late. I had heard everything. It took them home and immediately forced my dad to start running D&D games for me. And I would make the counselor at my after-school program run D&D games for me. And I was a fucking nightmare child. I've been like having weird little homebrew style games where all I had was a D20 that I slipped into my pocket before I went off to elementary or middle school on the lunch table. I was like, "All right, we're making shit up. This is Dungeons and Dragons, baby."
And hi, my name is John, and welcome to D&D.
Welcome to 8th grade getting beat up time. My name is John Baldesberger. Roll initiative. So yeah, this is like it brings me joy, and bringing it back, like the high level, ridiculous, godlike power of like level X is exactly the feeling I was trying to capture so often. So this is going to be a joy. This is going to be so much fun. I'm going to slip us over to the gameplay screen and let's just dive in, man.
Let's do it.
Do it live.
And we are here.
All right, so thank you everyone for your bits and pieces here. Charles, you touched on the fact that this is Old School and Cool Volume 3. This was recently kickstarted and is currently available, I believe, up to this point just on Night Owl Publishing's website. So if you didn't kickstart and you are curious about how much we've been pumping up Level X Play, definitely pick this up, and also the other volumes. So I kicked Volume 1, and it has a lot of really great character options and things for BX, your OSR games, and OSE. So lots of really great options. The second volume brings in a lot of more weirdness. So if you like the fun flavor and whimsy of like riffs, but you don't want to have to deal with all the crazy tables and percentile dice and all of that, get that. There's a lot of really fun things for your games that you can plug and play. And this being a focused one kind of captures some of the elements of play that Masters and Immortals wanted to capture, but this streamlines it and definitely brings in epic play. So the adventure that we're going to be playing tonight is the one that actually comes out of the book and is almost a very sandboxy like encounter. Don't lose your head. The game itself, so for people who don't have a copy of this, Level X is when you surpass your level cap that is set by like OSE, BX, etc. We're going to take one liberty with this adventure tonight, and the BX rules is that in order to actually cross that threshold between your normal mundane character and this Level X, you need to hunt down and slay or subdue a Level X character, kind of like a little bit of a Highlander element there. But because I wanted to be able to showcase the Level X characters we're going to actually start all of the characters as level X for this adventure. Otherwise, this is a transition module that you could use to have your max level characters finally cross that threshold and into level X play. And as an aside, the real fun thing is normally making high level characters is a absolute chore. There's a very fast engine built into this where you can make characters pretty quickly. So I spent like 20 minutes a character rather than the hours it takes to make a fully fledged out, getting all the equipment, all the bits and bobbles. So with that being said, I allow our characters to introduce themselves.
I'll start. Tonight I will be playing Rodram Runebank, who is a dwarf grudge keeper. I am a pretty typical dwarf in terms of my build, which is to say short, stout, hard as fuck, and I'm wearing a lot of iron and leather, and have a magnificent beard. Like not like this little, fancy lad beard. More like John's. John, can you show the good people watching it? Yes, like that. Imagine that on me. Yes, there you go.
I am Akadios Roka, the Mammoth Breaker. And Akadios Roka, the Mammoth Breaker, is a 6'8" barbarian in... I have closed. Yeah, in full plate mail. Hey. He also has a glorious beard. Not this little thing. But like, imagine one of those commercials you see where men are like talking about how they grow their beard and it's all long and braided. It's that kind of beard. Really beautiful. He has little wavy black hair that he has up in like the high ponytail with the shaved sides. And all over his body are tattooed different weapons, different forms of swords, daggers, axes, knives.
It's a good motif.
Anything you could use to kill with someone with, he has tattooed somewhere on his body. You can't see much of it because of the plate mail. Unless, hey, Ian, is it translucent plate mail?
It isn't, so you have to usually, whenever you have your armor off, is when you like make sure you show everyone your things. In fact, Where is your tattoo of your snail fork?
It is actually on my the underside of my big toe.
Yeah,
that was a painful. That was a painful one.
I hope there's at least one viewer who gets that very obscure reference,
but whenever he masters a new weapon, he gets it tattooed. And he has been studying weapons for a very long time. Oh, he also insists by going by his full name.
Is it my go?
It is.
Fantastic. I'm Silas Slimfingers. I'm what you would expect to see out of a grown-up street urchin. I finally made it. I made it to the big time, and now I'm the big boss.
I like the fact that you're like this grown-up like street urchin, but being like a level X thief, you could basically just pull out people's spine when you backstab them.
All he wanted to do was to have the candy store pay me a tithe every month. But now, if they don't, I'll just rip their spine out. It's fine.
You got the dog with the black patch around one eye,
Only now it's a dire dog.
I used to be a little stinker. Now I'm a big stinker.
I'm the biggest stinker.
And if you don't give me your candy, I'll fucking kill you.
I'll fucking stab your eyes out, mister. Don't make me do it. It's for the children.
So, when you have a character that ascends to level X, you actually hit this bifurcation point where you can choose to live up to this tremendous power that you're accumulating and choose the path of ascendancy. So you choose a path of nobility and greatness, or you can be corrupted by that power and degenerate into the path of descendancy, where you have a more basal, primal, or evil character. So all of you, I think, are the ascendant. Actually, with the exception of nope, yep, just the dwarf is the descended. The other two of you are ascended. But play that
Hell
as you will.
yeah.
So you are new level X characters. So the three of you have been adventuring for quite some time. Probably you have been parts of various parties that have had a lot of attrition to traps, that horrible mishap in the Tomb of Horrors, getting stuck in some pocket planes and whatnot. So you are the sole survivor of many different campaigns with stories too illustrious and great to tell. And so it is with all of this wealth and power and riches that you are seeking, perhaps. What is it that you seek? Do you seek a great challenge, or is it retirement? Just putting you on the spot is a little bit of improv. What would you do? What makes you still adventure at this high level?
The greatest challenge of them all. The never-ending jawbreaker.
Oh, can we be Ed, Ed, and Eddie now?
I'll be Plank.
Arcadios Roja, the Mammoth Breaker. Sorry, I need to keep his. Yeah, Arcadios Roca, the Mammoth Breaker, is searching for a fabled weapon that he has never wielded or learned.
And Rodrum, wow, the dry earth thirsts for blood. That's really all you gotta know.
Blood for the blood god.
Skulls for the skull.
All right, then. So your journeys have taken you wide and far, and you are on the road to approach a city that none of you have been to, but you have heard lots of entertaining stories about. A pretty jovial city, deckled in lots of different colors, very colorful citizenry. It is the city of Baru Jorvik. It's a bustling trade city. It's in the north end of the peninsula of the continent that you reside in, and you are fully looking forward to taking advantage in the very luxurious taverns that you've heard so much about. So you're just a couple miles out on a long and dusty road. And one of you roll me 1d10. Who feels lucky to do the first roll of the evening?
That's a 5.
A 5. Okay.
Glass half full.
So as you are advancing up towards the city, the road winds and bends around this kind of idyllic countryside, and you start to pass through a pretty thick forest. You can see that the road parts in a couple different directions, one leading more to the southeast of where you are, where you can start seeing in the distance tall, stony spikes and towers. Some type of natural rocky formations are in the distance, and some of them are so tall that you swear you can see the little bits of wispy clouds clinging to them. The road heads due west from here, and you can see it leads up to the city, and a little bit in the glade up ahead, you see some large things moving. Like you can just barely see there must be some type of clearing ahead, and 3 large brownish gold forms moving. You can kind of feel very thick footfalls thumping.
I'll go first. I guess we would want to investigate this. Being a thief, can I stealthily use my cloak to kind of see what's going on up ahead?
Absolutely. So you have a displacer cloak on, which is made from this beautiful, luxurious like taxidermy of a displacer beast. And you can actually see as it comes across to close around your neck, it actually has those little tentacles with the little grippy bits. So it's very comfortable and stylish. And when you wear it, you kind of disappear a little bit, just like those beasts.
Displacer beasts are intelligent.
Don't worry about that. I know a guy.
And we eat octopi and pigs, and they're intelligent creatures.
Speak for yourself.
Bacon is the smartest of foods.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
So wait, you haven't eaten pig? I mean, you talked about guanachal during our Ygdera campaign.
I'm Jewish. I don't eat pork or shellfish or cephalopods.
Oh, I didn't know cephalopods counted. I thought cephalopods were considered to be different because they're soft bodies.
Nope.
All right.
Are shrimp?
They're not kosher.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. All that creepeth and crawleth.
Except crickets.
Yeah, because those are, biblically speaking, quite delicious.
Right, because John the Baptist eating...
Well, we had to eat them, or else we would have died during famine, essentially.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Wash. If you haven't seen the Manishtana playthrough, that's another great one. So you wrap your cloak around you, and you are able to stealthily just kind of disappear into the forest. So I'm going to have you make kind of a stealthy approach. So most of your thief skills, being since you're max level, are basically at 99 percentile. So you have a 1% chance of just completely blundering, stealthing up. But knowing how our dice roll, I'd like to see you roll that percentile dice. So as long as you don't roll a 0001.
71.
So you get close to the edge of the clearing, and you can see that there are 3 large sun bears that seem to be dancing on tiptoes, holding claws, and traipsing in a circle. And they have this kind of weird, undulating, melodic hum growl that they make as they dance together in this old glade.
Okay. Have I seen something like that before?
So sun bears they kind of, imagine if you take like a small black bear and you mix it with a little bit of sloth, is kind of a little
these are like
way to describe it.
Real, like, actual sun bears, not like some kind of mythical version of sun bears.
No, they're a species of bear family that exists in tropical forests in Southeast Asia. They're the smallest of the terrestrial bears.
The Austin Rescue Zoo here has a few sun bears that they've rescued, and they are both adorable and sweet.
Never even heard of it. Sounds great.
Yeah,
I was going to say, like, so the real talk, like, I'm so torn here because I feel like my character would want to slay them immediately, but I will be, like, burned and blown up a chimney before I allow that to happen as Charles R. Bernard. So
it's not what you want to do, it's what your character wants to do, and you have to respect that.
I am expressing a veto on that particular issue right here. So
fair,
because dancing bears.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt the bears either. I just kind of want to enjoy them. Ian, can you keep describing the dancing bears to us for the rest of the night?
So
this is the new game. Hey fellas, the teddy bears, they're having a picnic.
Yeah, you guys are basically gods. All I want to do is watch these fucking bears dance.
So the longer, are you staying and watching the bears further, or are you going back to your party to let them know what you've seen?
I would let John's character know first.
So you're gonna stealth back and then stealth back to the bear, so to the party and then back?
I would stealth back to the party and let them know about the adorableness. Not letting the one likely to kill them first, so that he would know in game that there's opposition to killing the teddy bears on a picnic.
Good improv on that. Excellent. Yeah, and I've been rolling with these dudes for quite some time, so I'm used to their I think what they call like ethics or something. And it's like a peccadillo, but whatever. You know, people are weird and very crushable with my with Iron Fist or whatever my mace is named.
So go ahead and roll me that 99 percentile one more time for me as you stealth back to the glade.
That is an 81.
So you stealthily, you creep through the undergrowth, not making a sound. Your feet are just absolutely silent after being a very successful urchin I don't know what you were in a former life. A terrible assassin, some type of extortionist, whatever it is.
I had to get to the top. I mean, yeah, you start off as a street urchin, small, wee, sickly. You steal from the rich, give to the other street urchins, build up your reputation. Over the years, you're the guy in charge of stuff, but you can't let the landlords kick people out. Next thing you know, you're in a seat of power.
I have chosen the wrong level X path for you. I chose for you the vigilante path.
You know, Daredevil at one point became the Kingpin. I mean, that's just a chapter in Marvel Comics that we can ignore from 20-7. Was that 5?
No, you misunderstand, because the other path that you could have picked or been for the thief would have been the path of the crime lord, and I'm just like, I have a missed opportunity because you're clearly path of the crime lord with this one.
Well, I mean, we'll just change it. It's fine. I'll go the other path.
I don't want the stats on the fly.
We're not changing it on the fly. Okay. No. I'm saying instead, like
in the fiction.
Yeah.
In the fiction,
okay.
crime lord.
So
the narrative.
Yes. So you approach back of the glade, and the bears are gone. And where they were dancing, there are 3 discrete puddles of some type of yellow goo. In the middle, there is a beehive.
Oh boy, it's gotta be honey.
It's honey.
Why don't you go taste it? You be the first.
You think I won't?
You know what I think comes out of honey bears?
My intelligence is 9. I might think it's honey.
I mean, 9 is the average human, actually probably even slightly above human average, so...
My wisdom is 8.
That's still...
Shit, is it my wisdom that's 12? Look, I'm wise as hell. Hang on a second. If I'm not mistaken... maybe I'm wrong. Carry on. Let me find
I am very uncharismatic.
Yeah, my wisdom's 12, and my intelligence is 9.
We're all about the same level of smarts, which makes sense.
Okay.
I'm gonna since the bears are now gone, I'm gonna jog over there.
All right, so you see a clearing in a forest and 3 puddles of honey where your compatriot said there were sun bears. He could be hallucinating again. And then there is a very active beehive in the middle, like someone had just... I mean, almost like you just kind of ripped off a wasp nest off a tree, but it's full of bees, very large bees the size of your finger.
Are they agitated?
They don't seem to be very happy. They seem to be swarming, but you can't tell if that's anger or... I don't know if you have any apiary ability in you, if you recognize, other signs in bees.
It's always so hard for, like... John would know this. I don't think Arcadios Broke of the Mammoth Breaker knows
Unless
a lot
you have
about
a bee
bees.
tattoo, probably not.
I actually do.
He mastered the weapon.
Mastered the bee.
Do you think I haven't taken a beehive on a stick and beaten someone across the head with it? Because I have.
This is where Charles interjects and says that actually I forget what the plasmid is called in original recipe BioShock, but you get this ability to like throw bees at people, or wasps, I think, and it looks revolting. Like you've got them crawling in and out of like holes on your hands.
Tryptophobia.
Yeah,
I also have a tattoo of a stick of 2 pieces of string with a scorpion tied to one side and a duck tied to the other. It was a weird weapon, but I mastered it. Goddammit.
The duck is a counterweight, actually.
I'm going.
All right.
I'm going to kind of mosey very slowly into the clearing, keeping my eye on the bees. If they react poorly to my presence, I'll back off. But I'm going to try to get to one of the pools of honey, dip 2 fingers in, and taste that honey.
That's the John Baltusberger motto, right?
You get a couple of fingers of honey and dirt, and you eat it, and a couple of bees try to sting you, but they just deflect harmlessly off your +2 plate mail, and that burnished reflection of the sunlight kind of just repels the rest of the bees. So yeah, there's just puddles of honey.
Delicious.
It's good. It's fresh. It's honey.
Do I have any empty jars?
Check your inventory.
I don't know if you would have glass jars on you. It seems like that would be an occupational hazard. You have water skin that you could.
Yeah, I'm gonna dump some water and take some honey.
All right, so you scrape honey and dirt together, and you make it into a paste, and you put it into your just drained water skin.
Honey has antimicrobial healing properties. It's delicious. Like, honey is a really precious resource.
Here's a fun fact about bees from your friend Charles, who actually knows an astonishing amount about them. You'd be surprised to know. When people think of bees, they think of honey. That's the European honeybee. No species of bee native to North America made honey. They're all like solitary bees. There's very few colony bees native to North America.
And the earthworm isn't native either.
Yeah, and the closest... and that came over in ballast soil, the earthworms. I love that shit. Like, they load up ships with dirt to, counter... Anyway.
I was about to tell us we need to stay on topic, but this is fascinating.
Yeah, the closest thing we have to like actual European honeybees are in one of the South American jungles, and the tribes there have to climb like all the fucking way up a tree to get the honey, so it's considered like
the world's
very dangerous and like but anyway, so
anyway, I like a long skin full of delicious honey.
I like the fact that we've given you the most powerful characters we've had on the show to date. And here we are digging dirt, honey.
Just talking about bees.
Ian, we have played Godless League.
That's true.
I haven't.
True.
I had to bounce on that episode.
Yeah, you haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it yet. Yeah.
I would not want to face down Christine Morgan's character with any the three of these.
I don't know. I do feel like your character armed with the duck scorpion would be pretty frightening as well. So
that is a good weapon.
You have collected the 3 piles of honey and avoided getting stung.
Mm-hmm.
So it is past high noon. Still, it's getting a little bit pretty hot. You do get the occasional cool breeze coming from the ocean that is to your due west, but it is still kind of humid, and you're getting a little bit of a chafe from.
Are we near? Can you? I have the map up. Can you tell us which number we're close to?
So you are just a little bit north and west of 1. So 1 is the city of Barojorvik. So you were kind of been going along this. So that's why that road, if you were taking
I see.
Right. If you were to take that south and west, you would get to the area where the spiracles are.
You said,
is that number 2?
You said that it's after high noon, right?
Yes.
So that means that Rodrum's got to get drunk. So we got to get at that city. He's going to insist that we find the nearest and cheapest alehouse.
I think we're probably used to this, and like, okay, it's drunken dwarf time.
I'm just curious. God tier dwarf plus drinking. How much booze could a dwarf chug if a dwarf would chug?
What's his constitution?
How much? The answer is how much you got.
It's kind of like space wolves. They've got organs that can filter everything out, but somehow they still get drunk off of pure petrol and petrol distillate.
They also got fucked up off that thing that the Iron Warriors make that's like industrial ethanol or something. God damn it, I'm a nerd. Anyway,
we are the worst kind of nerds.
We really are.
Bees and special
distracting
space
nerds.
Liquor.
So how long of a haul is it to the city?
So from here,
right
about just about a miles away if you don't go and chase shiny, sticky things.
Oh, I'm going to chase every shiny chase sticky.
It's how we got this far.
Yeah.
So I think we know why the rest of your parties have died over the years. They were all mission focused, and you were the stragglers in the back, finding the chasing. Like there's sharp things. They're like running into traps and fighting all the creatures. You're just in the back, just kicking dirt.
Entire body.
I'm picturing my character just like chasing butterflies through a field,
full of rage, but chasing butterflies.
I mean, you got a hoop in his stick.
Those butterflies. I'm like swinging the mace, trying to hit the butterflies.
I think what would happen is our entire party would get killed by the dragon, and then we would finally show up, and the dragon would be like on his last hit point, having just killed our party. Be like, oh, and then we would get all the XP for ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. So you are wanting to head towards the direction of the city. So you're able to, take the very weak basic map that you've kind of sketched from bits of information you have from traveling merchants, and you can orient yourselves towards where the city is. You can tell that you're getting the right direction because the road is getting more and more worn. You can see wagon ruts from trade and commerce, so you're in the correct direction. So after you follow this path, for not too much terribly longer, you can see the city appearing on the edge of your vision. It has a large palisade that goes all the way around it, like a very, very tall wall. And in fact, at the corners of this, because it is very square-shaped in nature of the city, you can see that there are large cage-like structures that overlook the city with some very strange forms inside each cage that seem to be motionless from the distance. As you approach, you see that there are guards that have been deployed to the front of the city that are milling about, not in a very orderly fashion, but disorderly. In fact, they keep pointing up at the cages, and people who look distraught are milling about in and out, and you think you hear the sounds of lamentation coming from the city gates. But you know that this is a city that is perpetually engaged in frivolity and festivals and celebrating very obscure religious holidays, so it could be par for the course, like some type of weird mummer play or something.
Well, y'all want to go to the bummer play?
I mean, are there any other urgent type, my people, kids that I could hit up for some information?
Are there any children here? Bad luck, Patchkey, bad luck.
He's Fagin from
his restraining orders fall off at level X, like
I said my people.
Level X, no friars.
I'm a very powerful 13-year-old.
Okay, I will accept that.
But so what action are you wanting to take? So from here, you can't really discern if someone's an orphan or not. It's pretty far of distance.
I would know.
He has.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I was. Yeah, you don't have orphan vision, but perhaps you'll recognize signs once you get into the city proper.
Let's go into the city and look for children. We were in. Apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
Children and beer.
So how close do we have to get to the city before we can see what's in those cages?
Well, not too far. They're probably the half a distance that you are now from the city wall. You can get out. You can see that there's some type of creature, almost like something like a weird scaly elephant or some mounded coiled serpent.
And they're moving?
Not moving. So are you wanting to get up closer and try to see what's in one of those cages?
Yeah, I'm just gonna sidle up with the spectators and have a look and see if I can't. I can't really see much. I'm pretty short. Well, one of you guys want to give me a boost?
I will pick him up. And put him on my shoulders.
Yay!
As though he were my diminutive girlfriend and we were at a concert.
And this is exactly why you and your militaristic discipline have never skipped leg day, just for these moments, as you power squat, you deadlift the dwarf. No, I mean, actually it'd be a clean and jerk almost.
Yeah.
So you lift up the dwarf to get a better look, and you see that there are some excessively large basilisks that have been in these cages, but their heads are missing. Like, they've been cleanly decapitated. There is blood and ichor that have just dripped down the cages, down the city palisade, pooling at the corners, and the people in the city are just, it's a murmur of, what are we going to do? Our protection's gone. Who could fucking kill the basilisks? And just lots of just sounds of terror. And you see the morale of the city guard is quite shaken. And these guards look very much like the Swiss guards, wearing the kind of colorful uniforms, and they all have pikes and halberds and other pole arms. And
I was picturing just like the Swedish chef, actually.
No, Catholicism is ridiculous.
Now the Swedish chef is the Pope in my mind.
Yeah, sure. You know what?
Somewhere in the distance, you can hear asthma and wind, and just like crying. Anyways,
so like, I had been assuming that whatever entity was in the cages would be like looking down into the city, but obviously this was like their security system or whatever. I'm thinking, like, basilisks are the ones that turn people to stone, right? Mm-hmm. One of the ones that do.
Cockatrice.
Yeah. That seems pretty fucked up that they're just like turning everybody who wants to visit their city to stone. So I'm gonna actually, like, first of all, I'm gonna give those big old muscles a squeeze and, let them know that I appreciate I can't through your armor probably, but yeah, down I get.
My head is between your thighs, so you could.
Just give you. Yeah. I could crank like through the plate mail. And I'm gonna ask one of the weeping, probably, I don't know. Let's talk to one of the guards, and I'm gonna say, I see that somebody killed your basilisks. Why'd you have those things up there? Just direct, And
have you separated away from your mighty steed?
Yeah, I put him down, but I'm still walking next to him.
So, just as a quick aside, depending on how how your character wants to play this, John, you have such an imposing, intimidating figure. You basically can force a morale check on anyone that is 10 hit dice or lower. So that's why I'm just letting you know, like, if you're just this intimidating living thing.
That's why I was kind of hoping the plate mail was translucent, so I could do the peg bounce through it.
I think we've got a master blaster thing going on here. I think we've got a master blaster thing going on, and I think we should play. I'll do the talking, and he can do the intimidating.
Guys, if we get a really, really tall trench coat, I'm just saying we can get together, impersonate a giant.
Man, I just want to point out that I it's too late now, but I could have been playing this as Terry Crews the whole time.
There's no stopping you.
Yeah.
So, as you are asking about the basilisk, is that what you were asking about?
Yes. Yeah.
So one of the guards you talk to has this absolutely flat affect, just jaw down, just an utter astonishment. And for a second, he doesn't even seem to hear you. Then he turns and he sees your pretty gnarly visage, and he gets a little pale in the face at first, just kind of blinking his what?
And I repeat, I see someone killed your basilisks. Why'd you have those things up there?
What type of? Why would we have them? That's one of our greatest protections. That's how we stop the terrible horde of 2706 that came through the hinterlands, turned them all to stone. We did. You don't even need an army of wizards. You don't need a huge garrison. If you could just selectively petrify anyone that assaults the city, that's our greatest natural resource.
Okay, selectively.
We don't have any protection against a major incursion.
I flex. Yeah, you do.
I also flex. Yeah, you do.
So the poor guard, after just losing his monster heroes, sees you, I don't know, cajoling / harassing / I don't know exactly what, but his knees begin to just knock, and he just looks faint and just aghast at The three of you.
Right.
Look.
I'm gonna give him like a comforting kind of like clap on the elbow, and I'm gonna say, hey, who's in charge around here in this city?
Around here, oh, that's that's going to be the burgomaster, Jane Loop.
Ah, okay. Now I want to have a little huddle with my confreres here. Y'all didn't know this, but I, as following the descending path, I do have a greedy streak because the soil is dry and thirsts for blood, but I got a drink and thus thirst for gold and ale. So if we go talk to this Burgermeister, and I'll get a bacon cheeseburger, John. You can just go with a plain burger.
You know that my name literally means Burgomaster of the Baltics.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, that's my last name.
Wow.
Interesting.
The whole Baltics. Anyway, yeah, I think we ought to go talk to the Burgermeister and see what they would pay to get replacement basilisks, because I think that between the three of us, we could catch ourselves a passel of basilisks. I said that correctly. Hell yeah.
Now we could do that.
True.
Counterpoint, you could just get drunk. And if anyone tries to invade while we're here, we beat them up. And then we go look for more bears.
I mean, that sounds cool too. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get drunk before we go basilisk hunting. Believe me, I'm not saying that. Yeah,
how about you? How about you, boy? 13-year-old.
What saith Fagin?
What says the child who accompanies the murderous dwarf and idiot man-child?
What makes you think I'm not more I have killed my fair share of people? I would suspect.
I am not one for metagaming, but if you're calling this the thief a boy, have you seen his strength score?
17.
Are you saying that 13-year-olds can't be strong? Have you never watched an anime?
Yeah.
That is a very realistic
Naruto,
benchmark.
I think.
It is, yeah, for most things.
I'm sorry, did you say realistic benchmark? Because I have a sword that can kill God.
Let's stay on point, folks. So,
yep.
You're saying that you are. I hear 50% of you say you want to do tavern. Half of you say Jane. Some of you say Sun Bears. What are you doing?
I think we're going to go talk to the Burgomaster.
Yeah.
Before that, my earlier thing I brought up about the finding a street urchin.
Yes.
I would like to inquire about Jawbreaker. That has not left my mind. And B, see if the street urchin has any additional information on Basilisk and their death. And then see, this Burgermeister, is he actually in control of the city, or is it someone else? Come on, let me know.
Sure.
Yeah,
just making sure I heard clearly. Did you say Jawbreaker for your first bit of information?
I mentioned this earlier.
I just wanted to make sure that I heard Jawbreaker, because there's a lot of weapons that people have that are breaker this and breaker that. So
yeah.
All right.
It's a never-ending Jawbreaker. No matter how many times you lick it, it never goes away. In theory, we could attach to a chain and make it into a Jawbreaker flail. I have not tested this. I have never had a never-ending Jawbreaker, but thought about it.
Yeah, who do you think he is, Mr. Worm, whatever?
Wormsworth from
Wormsworth. That's the one. Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll divide up intelligence, and then John and I will go. Not be intelligent. No, we'll go talk to the master of burgers, mistress of burgers.
So Silas, when you enter the city, you instantly get a read and feel as if you are a physic tapping veins to figure out someone's vital essence. You get a pulse of the city. You can see how the streets are run out. There's a quasi-grid construction that really shows that there's an orderly component. So naturally, that means there's going to be a grid-like sewer system, since the sanitation, since it smells clean in here. So that's going to be where the thieves are. That's going to be urchins are. So you very quickly insinuate yourself into the city and quickly identify people you can tap for information. go ahead and make me a charisma check. So that's going to be rolling a d20, and you want to roll your stat or under.
Is that me?
That is you, since you are kind of filtering through.
Sorry, I wasn't positive. All right, that was leaning, so I'm going to re-roll it. It was either a 15 or a 2, but instead it's an 8. And it is charisma rolling under 12?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So you find yourself a gaggle of urchins. In fact, they try to do a very common pickpocketing scheme where one distracts you, another one puts a hand in your pocket and tries to get your gold. And you play along and so you snatch their hands. You do that whole thing where you teach them how to do it right. And after all of that, you start to pump them for information. None of them claim to have heard anything about a mythical jawbreaker. And you ask about the Burgomeister and who actually runs the city. And they all, with kind of a little bit fearful look in their eyes, then do agree that the Burgomeister is definitely the power. And she runs things with a tight fist. In fact, sometimes she runs her guards through the sewer to flush out any unsavories. And these are the orphans that have survived the last shakedown of the sewers. What was the last bit of information you were looking for as well? Was it about the basilisks?
Yeah, it was if they had any additional info.
Information about what happened. Roll me 1d6.
1d6. 6.
You, when you're talking about the beheaded basilisks, the kids have said, we've heard horrible things. That there's a whole field of corpses out in the mossy forest, just beheaded bodies. We hear that there's some type of grim reaper that's just cutting people's heads off and sucking the souls out of their necks. And another one of the kids says, hogwash. It ain't no grim reaper.
Oh boy, then what is it? Or is it all banana oil?
Oh no, it's you can tell this kid is trying to use like a deep voice and like puffing his chest to seem older, but he's probably not even older than like 11 or 12. Like he's like, oh well, it's gotta be a demon. What else could cut heads off and suck out souls? And so one of the other kids, like maybe 9 or 10 types in, it's like, I know, I think it's a wizard. I've heard it's a wizard. It needs souls to become immortal.
So all definitely souls.
And definitely corpses with no heads. Other than that, it seems like they're just, dumb kids.
Right. So
I would give them some money to help them along their way and a few other life lessons I've learned that might benefit them in their urchining ways.
How much gold do you give the urchins?
How much gold do I have? I didn't see that on my sheet.
6,000.
I have 6,000. Rich bitch. I would give the scrawniest boy a secret extra like 50 gold and get it for the rest of them like 20.
You do realize that like a gold is like a month or two at least of an average laborer's like money. So you've just recreated like Disney's Blank Check movie where you just like dumped years worth of salary into these kids with no executive functioning. And you're probably going to ruin their lives because it's going to like blow it all and just like end up in a horrible situation.
I love this. This is,
and I want you to tell me all about it like at the end of this mission.
Yeah, exactly. Undermine the pillars of society. Let these fuckers run loose and like show people that cash is king and watch everything crumble. This is going to be great. That's Charles talking, not my character. All right. Anyway,
John approves of this.
Yeah.
Eggplant. So, the two of you go in search of the Burgomeister, while you leave Silas in the sewers, which sounds like its own epic story right there.
Silas in the sewers sounds like a morning radio show or a podcast.
No, it's definitely a morning radio show.
It's an industrial folk band, so it's like a banjo but with synth.
Yeah, okay.
Bodrum and Arcadios, you are...
Arcadios Roca, the mammoth.
Yes, I fully expected you to correct me on the title. For sake of convenience,
No.
for character count.
Absolutely not.
Eggplant.
Parmesan.
So, all right. So I have to make myself a note here to make sure that I always use your full name. All right. So Bodrum and Arcadios Roca, the Mammoth Breaker, you are able to ply some of the guards to take you to the Burgermeister. Burgermeister is actively engaged in discussing vital information with a garrison of troops. He says you pull up, you find that you see a woman that is very wiry in studded leather armor. Hair is jet black and pulled into a tightly cropped ponytail, and her face is crisscrossed in some intimidating scars. Like she had some very got them in like some type of fencing injury or some type of duel of some kind. So she cuts a very intimidating visage, or at least to most people, and she's giving very clipped orders to people. And she locks eyes with you, Arcadius, which is a unusual feat because most people avoid making eye contact with you. She doesn't look impressed. She then goes back to ignoring you and giving orders to troops. You hear this little bit, so she speaks softly but firmly about positioning troops on the outskirts to make sure that the fences are manned.
Okay, let's think about our next move. My first impulse was to say, like, who's the biggest soldier there, and let's see if I can knock him through like a wall just to impress this person that we're nobody to fuck around with. But I actually think, diplomatically speaking, that would be a bad move.
I was going to suggest we fight the entire garrison to show them that we can capture a basilisk. So maybe my diplomacy is not quite what it is.
Hey, I'm starting to think actually that like catching 4 basilisks, pain in the ass. Killing 1 wizard / reaper / soul sucking, neck cutting, probably member of the Wu-Tang Clan. That seems easier.
I will not be killing any member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Hell no, man!
It is against my moral standing. In the
no. I was just
Wu-Tang is forever.
Neck cutter. Yeah, Wu-Tang
Don't
Clan
fuck with Wu-Tang.
Yeah. Protect your neck. Oh shit!
Necromancy.
Protect your neck. It was them.
Points. We solved the mystery, guys.
It was the Wu-Tang Clan all along.
We have an hour. We have been going for an hour, and we have accomplished nothing except the normal.
So you can tell the GM, I'm like,
I have stimulated the local economy in ways that you'll never understand.
All right, fuck it.
I ate floor honey.
I will walk up to the Burgermeister, interrupting her very rudely, I might add, but that's in character as Bodrum. And I will say, let's not screw around. You've got a problem. You need a solution. We're the solution. If my friend and I can take your whole garrison, I'll solve it. If me and my friend here can take out your whole garrison unarmed, will you hire us for, I don't know, I'll let my friend set the price, to go solve your head cutting problem in the swamps?
This woman doesn't even flinch. She just advances towards you and gets up right in your face.
Well, down in my face.
No, I mean, she's shorter stature. You're shorter stature. I mean, she would have to look up, I'm assuming, into Arcadius Roca, the Mammoth Breaker's face. But you two are level, and she locks eyes. And she just very calmly says, why the fuck would I let you kill all of my men?
I didn't say kill. I said defeat. They can use their swords. They can use whatever they want. We're just going to use 4 fists.
And what are you trying to prove? And she's got this gravelly voice.
I step forward I put my hand on his head and kind of shove him behind me.
To the side.
Yeah, it's like,
You don't have any idea what you're dealing with here, do you?
hold on. My friend, he says lots of things. I say one thing. Your men need to defend town. We go into swamp, deal with problem, maybe get no basilisk. You pay us. Mercenaries, your men stay safe here behind walls while we go risk life to solve problem. He just wants to fight. He like fighting. I like fighting when I can taste blood in the air. I don't want to taste your men's blood. Your men don't want to taste my blood. Let's make deal. Everyone happy.
So she says you can't just breed these things. The basilisks, they were constructs. These were made by a master wizard who has passed this plane.
I could probably breed them. I am very virile, but I understand your point. Where is Master Wizard? We go find Master Wizard.
I've already detached my best inquisitor, Marwin, to the mossy forest to hunt down the perpetrator.
Okay, you don't need us. You don't need us. We'll go to bar, get drunk. It's all good.
Sounds good.
We try to help. You don't need help. He would like to fight someone, though. If you have someone who wants to fight him, I no object to that.
If you want to bring the man to justice and you can do it before Marwin does, then I suppose I could reward you, but I have full faith in him. What you're looking for is a very decrepit and very despicable wizard.
Do you want me to find an old man and punch an old man before the man you already hired gets to him and punches him first? It doesn't make any sense. No, if you have it handled, you have it handled. There are many adventures for this.
You misunderstand. To cut the heads off of 4 basilisks.
I did that this morning.
She just looks at you. She makes it. And
This-
she turns on her heels and she just walks
I
away.
pull the sword out from behind me and kind of thunk it into the ground so that she can see her reflection in the blade. What is the sword's name? The sword had Drake Bane. This is Dracospartiak. With it, I cut the head of a Taresk, then chopped it to pieces and served steaks to the populace to solve poverty and famine. Basilisks are nothing. I do not care. Whatever happened, happened. If you say you have it solved, you have it solved. I need you to understand. I don't give a fuck. I offer service. You don't need service. That's fine.
Now it's my turn to interrupt, but instead of pushing him back, I'm actually just going to push between his legs and come out that way.
But
I'm just assuming this entire time Silas is like in the sewer watching from like a storm drain.
I mean, I have my cloak. There's no
corner,
reason why I'm not just there off to the side. Not
That's true.
saying
So you
anything.
can hide in
Trying really
basically
hard
in shadows or in plain sight as long as you're stationary. You basically have a 1% chance of being seen as long as you're actually strategically hiding.
All right.
So if you want to, Silas, if you want to be there, you can certainly do so.
I just come up behind the lady. I'm just like, yeah, if you got it handled, you got it handled, lady.
All right. So what is it you're interjecting?
What I was gonna say is, all right, dead guy, we get paid. Got it. Do you want me to bring back the corpse of what's his name, the guy you sent? If we find it, I mean, it might be Eden. I don't know what kind of wizard we're dealing with, but
you're not dealing with any normal wizard. That's Sir Viter of the Barrows.
Oh,
he's one of the most evil and corrupt villains in the realm. I do not like how this one is disrespecting me.
Dwarf, how many wizards did you kill this year?
I'll take care of him. We'll bring back your guy's corpse if we can find it for proper burial or whatever. Just out of respect, no extra charge for that. Maybe next time don't send a counselor to do a level X hero's work. And then I'm just going to like drag... I can't remember your fucking name, man.
Arcanos Roca, the Mammoth Breaker.
Yeah, that's right. The Mammoth Breaker. I'm gonna just kind of like try to get my bro out the door, of the bar without getting into a fight here. And I think we've got our quest. Like, let's go kill a wizard for fun and profit.
Agreed.
So you have the information that Silas gathered as well. Something about a field of corpses in the mossy forest, which happens to be the same place where the Burgermeister Jane Loop had sent her main inquisitor, Morrowind.
Right.
Did you want to gather any other information? Is there anything else that you need in the city? As you kind of get a picture of the city, you take it in, you smell lots of brightly spiced foods, lots of interesting trade goods that are being brought in on ships in the port all the way in the rear. And the thing that's most interesting is that people who seem to be native here, their shoes are festooned with like bright ribbons, and all of their shoes themselves are of bright color. And you see that there's a stark contrast between visitors and people who are native here just by the jaunty garb. So the three of you really stand out.
I just want to point out that I have a fairly low charisma, but but Arcadios is actually fairly attractive, so he's just a complete ass.
Right, of course, naturally.
No ability to be like nice or diplomatic with anyone.
You read like the art of the game, and you're just negging on everyone.
Oh god. How is Roosh these days? Anyway,
I'm a nice guy, is what you don't understand.
Yeah. Hashtag not all men.
I have my braided neck beard.
So like I absolutely need to purchase like whatever the strongest liquor available in this town is, like a couple of barrels of it preferably before we leave, and maybe a wheelbarrow to carry them with, and then we can hit the road.
Sure. You can even get hirelings if you so want. So you could hire porters to actually carry the various casks of ale.
Oh shit! That means you can get a lot more of it.
Or you could even just. You have so much money being
the thing they've got.
Well, they do have an ice wine and a barley wine that have been very well aged. You can sell like by how much just been seeping and evaporation at the barrel.
Yeah.
And of course, there's some type of fancy fortified wine that was brought on a ship recently. Some type of Porto, they call it.
I want a cask of it, of all of it. Let's see how much gold I have.
You have a sufficient amount of gold for this adventure. I'm not going to worry about money keeping for now.
Excellent.
So you could just basically literally hire. Well, I mean, depending on how many kegs you want, you can get like a pony cart.
Yes, let's do that. Pony cart full of booze, and
I'm going to look for any kind of weapon I've never used before.
Oh yeah, because you can get a new tattoo when you get back.
You see that there is a gift stall of someone that's wearing almost something so colorful and garish. In any other city, you would identify him as being a jester. But
hi, George.
You see that he's selling novelty goods, and there is something that in any other city would be identified as a back scratcher, and you pin as some type of exotic weapon that you have never seen before. It, of course, has like the hand that is carved on a stick like this, and for some reason it reminds you of like the open palm way of, Karato or some other far distant city-state.
I'm going to buy that. And as I walk back to my friends, I'm like, if I get this in the eye or at the right angle in the nose, I could make this work, is what I'm saying.
Or you can put them behind their airway and pop their throat.
Yeah, if I could. I think
I'm picturing you getting them like this with it, and then just like pulling them forward, like
it's a pool of acid.
It's a very similar action to the snail fork.
Do you think they have any pools of acid for sale? I'll worry about this later.
So the three of you,
before we leave, I in character, this is what they would do.
Yes.
A bag of holding available? Yes. No.
Yes.
Fantastic. Buy a bag of holding.
No, you have a bag of holding.
Oh, okay. I buy another bag of holding.
That's a very rare item. That's not something you can find in the city. There are some interesting artifacts here, but
that's why I was asking if it was available.
Oh, sorry, but you have a bag of holding.
But I want another one
to put inside it to create a pocket universe.
No.
That's very bad to do.
Strictly for my candy, where I will buy out an entire candy shop and store it in the other bag of holding. It's my candy sack.
Well,
that is so creepy.
If you want to actually buy out a whole candy store, there actually is a candy smith in this city if you want to do that as an aside.
Yeah.
Question, if you put him in the bag, does he become a bagman instead of a candy man? Because the bagmen are pretty scary.
Well, the candy man can.
So, as you are preparing to move on from the city, are there any other actions you want to do? Any, as far as gathering in information, equipment, or are you wanting to head in the general direction of these rumors you've heard?
I think we should head in that general direction and get it.
So,
for your health.
So far, the main thing you've heard about has been the mossy forest, which you haven't had taken the time to really gather any more intel other than the field of corpses that have been involved, and that wizard, the survivor of the barrows, and of course you kind of got a little bit of the rabble, the scuttlebutt from those kids. Maybe a little bit more about the nature of this figure. So, if you are kind of getting a lay of the land, you can tell that you have the city of Borrowed Jarvik, and a little bit just south and west of that is that area where you saw like really tall rock spires. That's then split by a wide river that there are skiffs and other things for commerce that are taken up and down it. Then towards the south, further than that, is where this mossy forest is. Other areas that you have gathered from just kind of getting information from the city, that there is a junction where there's the river hits a plateau and there's a waterfall. There's a tea plantation far out in the west. You've heard a little bit about, southwest, and then to the west-northwest, there's a strawberry farm. Other than that, those are the key areas you've kind of gotten just a little bit about, but you don't know much about this area since you're being bullheaded rushing forward. So, what is your plan of attack? Heading basically due south and going straight to the mossy forest?
Yeah, that would be my preference.
Okay.
John
this
wants
sounds
to go
like
to
a
the
picturesque
tea.
place, though.
John wants to go to the tea plant so bad, but going to the mossy forest. Stupid
it does sound like a
adventure.
charming place to visit.
I love tea.
And strawberries, man. What's not
I don't
to
love
like?
strawberries.
Colorful
personally.
shoes on the citizens. People
Yeah,
dressed like
that-
those dumbass Pope guards. Like, yeah.
Hear that strawberry field goes on forever.
Ian, there's a little demon behind you.
That is Rambo.
Hi, Rambo. I love you.
Oh,
Rambo.
Well, if you really love him, you would call him by his chosen appellation, Bobo.
Bobo, I love you.
So you have two courses that you could take here. Pardon me. So you can hug along the coast. So you'd still need to cross. Any way you go, you're gonna have to basically crossing over this wide river, or you can cut through the forest itself and use that cover to hopefully maybe give you a little bit more of a stealth advantage as you approach the mossy forest. You can see that you're basically going from one forest transitioning into a area that has a lot of fungal growth and large, tall, spindly trees. So it's a very different forest zone, at least what you've heard about the mossy forest.
See, John or I should have gotten fungi of the far realm before we
That is true.
started this. Anyway, I say we just, like, as you said, bullheaded straight ahead through the woods.
Okay. You just want to find more honey bears.
That's right. Honey bears, and also I don't see the advantage of taking a longer route since we're tough.
And I want to fight something.
Yes.
If
we've got a stealthy dude with us, so we can come up on this wizard unawares, hopefully, so he doesn't turn me into a newt.
If I didn't want to fight something, I would have insisted we go to the tea plantation.
Yeah.
All right. So you head due south. So the forest is pretty thick. So your wagon full of ale and wine is really struggling with the undergrowth. The pony is pulling really hard, but all of the vines and the brush is really getting it tangled. If you want to keep your cart, it's going to slow you down significantly, and it's going to be very challenging to eventually cross the river. Do you want to take the time to really beat a path down for your booze cruise?
How do you guys feel about this?
I mean, you spent the money on it.
I tell you what. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna drink as much as I can and still be able to walk. I am then going to carry as much as I can and still be able to traverse the trees. And then the guys that I hired to drive the mules and so forth, I'm gonna say you guys can split the rest of this, and here's a gold piece a piece on top of what I said I'd pay you. Just take this thing and go get hammered and enjoy it, and return it to the Berg when you're done, and that way we can move on with our lives.
They gratefully thank you, and in fact, your name will be now a drinking cheer that is used in all of the best taverns in the city. So whenever there is a good time or bad time that is being soothed with ale, they will lift their mugs and say, Bodrum.
Hell yeah!
So
I'm a winner no matter what else happens tonight. I just won.
So you can carry one of these casks, but you're not going to have a weapon out. And this is in addition to the firkin that you have strapped on your back, of course.
Right.
So you continue forward. So you're still going to be moving at a little bit of a slower rate, and it's going to be a pretty significant swath of time. So we're going to bend some of the travel rules of OSE just for convenience of our time format. Mm-hmm. Who amongst you feels quite lucky and wants to make a D10 roll for me?
I'll do it.
You get the next one then.
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's see. That comes up as a 4.
Okay, 4. Actually, you know what? In addition to that, I'm feeling spicy. Go ahead and Pashke, you also roll me a D10. Let's see how this plays out.
Boy, I'm involved. That is a D12. What am I doing? D10. That is also a 4, but I am lucky, so I could roll it if I need.
Hey, that's up to you. You tell me, and then I'll take the final result. I'm not telling you what this means.
Okay. Well, I think 2 4s, it's got to be a 4, especially if we don't know what it means.
All right. Let's see. All right. So, in the distance, as you are beginning to approach this river, you see towering above the tree line of the canopy, there is a giant that is very slowly and ponderously walking along the river in the distance. Just trees, kind of pushing them out of the way, brushing fingertips through the tops. This giant, she's about 20 feet tall, and she is just absolutely drenched in weapons. Like she's carrying on her back and her arms all kinds of weapons. She wears a weathered carrack as a hat, and she is dressed in dragon leather and rock feathers. And she doesn't seem to take notice to you since you're below the canopy.
At this point, Bodrum smacks Abraxas, or whatever the barbarian's name is, in the stomach and says, "Hey, it's your wife."
Oh boy, guys, if we actually have that trench coat right now, I'm just saying.
I like that.
I am smitten.
Yeah, drenched in weapons. I immediately was like,
"Fair maiden."
Oh, this dum-dum's gonna go talk to her.
My name is Arcadios. Arcadios Roca, the Mammoth Breaker.
So
Have you ever been wooed by a real gentleman?
So the giant turns, and for a second tries to see where this is coming from. And then she sees you, and you see her. Her eyes are pitch black all the way around, sclera and everything. And her smile is far too wide as she just cracks a smile that goes all up to her ears, and like her whole, just almost like her lower jaw is almost all teeth. And she stares at you, and you think for a second she salivates. And you see she shifts her whole body, and all the weapons that are on her have an odd shimmer as they catch the light. And you swear you see like swirling faces glinting off all the weapons. And she begins to very ponderously and slowly, carefully walk towards you, not smashing any tree, just parting them, just advancing towards you.
No, I turn towards my companions. No woman can resist the Mammoth Breaker. Once you go human, I don't know. There's something catchy, but I'm good. Yeah.
Once you go human, you'll never need cumin?
No, cumin is delicious.
I don't know.
Exactly. That's why you'll never need it, because humans have it laying around.
We do. I have plenty of cumin for you, my love.
Do you guys wanna fight or run like hell?
Arcadio still thinks he's gonna get lucky.
Oh boy.
I don't know no better. I believe him.
So
we're just high-fiving.
You got it,
this
buddy.
giant is again just wading through the trees, and she's gaining on you, and you feel her cold eyes boring into her. All of the weapons as kind of crash against her side, making a loud crescendo. She's getting faster and faster, moving towards you. And you're still just waiting for her?
What kind of footwear is she wearing?
All right. What'd you say?
What kind of footwear is she wearing?
Is it fancy?
That is interesting. It's a very odd leathery and scaly thing. You think it might also be made out of dragon hide, but maybe a lot of the scales have been broken off. They're very well worn, whatever they are.
Ah, cool.
So you
She's not a townie.
Are still trying to throw your words of affection towards her.
And while that
she
dumbass
approaches
does that,
right towards you and just leans over and is still giving this far toothy smile. You can't tell if she's hungry or just like really excited to see you.
She's
probably
super
because you're
into
also
me.
a person covered in weapons, right?
I am. We are kindred spirits.
She doesn't say anything, but she just extends a hand very slowly, like a very large hand, towards you. Maybe.
I mean, I'm gonna let him.
if it's
I'm gonna let him bear the fruit.
I'm going to try to kiss the back of her hand.
Very affectionately to show your respect to her. So she leans in and she very gently, almost caressingly, wraps her whole hand around you, and you get this
nice
thrill that like just reverberates through your body as she very slowly and gently closes her hand across you, and you feel this excitement and almost arousal of like, here's this strong person drenched in weapons. It's all of your fantasies you've ever had. And
we've got some Vorfiends out there who are just like throwing ropes right now. I'll just say
she can fit 3 of me in her.
Need you to roll me a save versus petrification.
Oh shit!
Hey, I fail. She turns me into stone.
Wait, she gets you all hard?
Yeah.
What?
Shit. I'm trying to
What do you
roll
mean you
under it.
fail?
Do I add anything to that?
You're trying to roll over or equal on 1d20. So for you, Arcadios, that's pretty. It's 7 because you've got such crazy stats. But
so I'm trying to roll equal to or under, right?
No, equal
or over. Okay, I'm over.
All right.
I am mostly not petrified. Mostly.
Mostly. One part very petrified. Okay, enough fucking around. I'm gonna draw. What is my thing? I gotta know. I love named weapons. I have a thing for them.
I renamed mine. I renamed Drakebane to Drakish Banoi, and my Warhammer is no longer the Earth Shaker, is now the Wop Maker.
It should be the Rump Shaker.
All right. So,
what about my stocky outrage thing?
Well, she didn't really attack, now did she?
That's right. And
he fully willingly accepted this. So you could tell she's beginning to like palpate and squeeze you, and she looks very disappointed. For a minute, that huge toothy smile breaks and turns into a frown, which then turns into a grimace. Then she is seething with rage, and she begins to throttle you with one hand. The other two of you, so you, Silas, and Bodrum, can see that this is clearly something is very wrong here. And
Bodrum's done fucking around. I taken final big ass chug from the keg I'm carrying, very carefully set it down, draw Iron Fist, and I am not sure what the rules in terms of turn order are on OSC. Do I have to like draw and then next turn do an attack, or
since we kind of have very hazy lines about this round action, you're perfectly fine. So that barley wine, it definitely tastes of late summer fruits and a little bit of summer hay. Nice. And it is delightful, and it's sad that you had to chug it. You have your weapon drawn. Silas, do you want to do any action during this kind of like free round before we turn into combat? Which is, this is not the combat I thought was going to happen during this adventure, but here we are.
But Rouge V had to go and neg the wrong lady. Actually, there was no negging involved in that particular.
I was completely respectful and amorous.
A total gentleman.
All right. So, Silas, any actions you want to do?
So, first thing, before he realizes that this is not going to go well for his friend, boy, I wonder what a half giant's gonna look like. They're gonna have a baby. It's gonna be adorable. And then once I realize something's amiss,
bells.
I'm more and more. You guys are doing this voice. I'm getting Linda from Bob's Burgers, which is even better.
Bobby.
We haven't had enough songs for it to be here, though. Like. Linda would be singing by now about something.
See, this is why we need to extend our format more than just like an hour and a half of gameplay, because I want to see all this played out, and we're not going to scratch the surface of the story.
All right, so for the story in action, I would don my cloak, go invisible, and try to scamper around and up to attack with my dagger. Who, since we're naming our weapons, Senior Stabby is... It's his name.
From Shadow Drinker to Senior Stabby.
I will tell you, Charles.
Shadow Drinker.
As Desiree calls our snake, Ashmandai, Senior Long Body.
At least we got 10 laughing. So you are able to position yourself in the fact. I mean, you're small. You've been hiding this whole time. There's no way that she can see you, so you can position yourself for a backstab. So let's play this out. Why don't you roll for initiative? You're going to be denied your chance at initiative, Arcanos, Roka, the man with breaker, just because you are completely engripped by this meaty fist of this very strange giant. So
in the grips of love.
I will have so Bodrum and Silas, go ahead and roll me a d6, and we will see against the giant, and we'll see Who gets it? And we'll do round robin.
I got a 3.
I'm lucky I can reroll that, right?
You are lucky.
So your lucky works differently. It's not 5th edition lucky. Your lucky is. Hold on here. I need a cough. Excuse me.
5th edition's lucky's better because I could have re-rolled it and not had a 1.
Pardon there. So when anyone attacks you, misses you, you gain 1 fortune point that then you can use to change it to a hit or miss. So it's not like lucky as in halflings from 5e.
Well, I have a 1.
Okay. And all right. And okay. And what did you get, Bodrum?
3.
All right. And Giant. So
If Bodrum ever has any kids, they should form a metal band.
Fuck yeah. Bodrum's children of Bodrum.
Yeah.
Every time I see one of their albums, like, oh, hey, it's them. Oh, hey, it's them. It's a bumper band.
Yeah.
all right. So I will adjudicate this where Silas, you'll go first, and we'll do round robin initiatives. There's going to be Silas, Giant, Arcanus, Roka, the Mammoth Breaker, and then followed by Bodrum. So, Silas, you position yourself to do backstabbing, so that gives you +4 to your attack. So that would mean for you, that is a +16 attack. So, roll well.
D20 still?
That is correct.
All right. So that is 18 plus 16 to hit?
That's pretty insane. Absolutely.
God damn.
So you stealthily move through the undergrowth, and as this giant is squatting and starting to strangle and crush Arcanus, Roka, the Mammoth Breaker, harder! You lunge forward and you skewer the giant with your dagger. I'm assuming concentrating in the spine. So you strike a decisive blow, so that means that you get to do double damage. So for your thief, that is, so roll me 1d4.
1d4. Oh, that sucks. So that's a 1 plus 5, 6 damages.
6 plus, so it'd be double, so that is 12 damage. So you strike at it, and the giant gives this screech as she is completely caught off guard by you stabbing her right in the back. She turns and she starts to look frantically to see what has struck her, and she locks eyes on you. She lashes out with her other hand, and you see this giant meaty hand, and there's some type of like dark energy kind of crackling in the inside of her palm. So your armor class is what, 17 versus melee. So she lunges out at you, but with your displacer cloak, it makes it a little bit hard to gauge distance, and she grasps the air right in front of you, and you feel like the air just like rush past your face as this fist closes just right in front of you. Arcanus, Roka, the Mammoth Breaker, with her other, with you still in her hand, she throws you down and very purposely goes to pull a glaive from her side, and she slashes down at your prostrate form.
Prostate?
Sorry.
Pegging already?
I'm still fighting a cold here, so yes.
I am ready. My body is ready.
So your armor class right now
is...
Are giants like seahorses? Because...
Only if you're lucky.
So she shanks down and throws this glaive down to penetrate you and cut you in half. And you roll just out of the way and it cuts a boulder in half and just sticks out of the ground. That grimace that was already making has just turned into this like twisted, gnarled thing where like teeth are overlapping and her eyes are just somehow getting wider in her skull. It's basically just the most nightmarish thing you've ever seen in your life, and you survive this encounter. So you roll out of the way of this glaive, this breaking a boulder in half. What is your course of action, Arcanos? Broca the Mouthbreaker.
Arcadios Roca the Mountain Breaker takes a moment to feel heartbreak and sadness. He really thought something was going to happen there. But says, we never established a safe word. And pulls out his warhammer, the Wap Maker.
Well, you got a sword and a warhammer?
Yes, sir.
You lucky dog.
And he is going to... I'm going to try to hit her right across the knee to break her knee sideways with the Wap Maker.
Exactly what I was going to do.
All right, roll for it.
That is a 22.
22. So you strike out, and you can't not hit these legs. I mean, they're just like tree trunks. So you bring your weapon down for how much damage?
That's 16 points.
There is a thudding sound as your weapon crashes into the side of her, and you draw just a little trickle of blood.
I keep the momentum going and land again.
All right.
I have 3 attacks.
That's true.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That is another 22.
You strike again. You could say at first you seemed annoyed by your first hit.
That was an 8. Hit, that was an 18
for the third.
You still hit.
No, that was an 18 damage for the second hit.
For the second hit. Got you.
And second. For the third hit, I am going to, as I come through, I come up and over and bring it down on the top of her kneecap.
Nice.
All right.
That is a 24.
To hit?
Yep.
You hit?
And that's another 18.
My God.
So that's 36 plus 16. That's 52 points of damage to her knee.
Viewers at home, this is the fun of Level X.
So she drops to one knee for a second because it's kind of like that reflex thing when you hit someone's knee, it goes weak for a second. So she thunders down.
So she feels like she's essentially kneeling in front of me for a second.
Yes,
I smooch her.
Oh, keep in mind she's 20 feet tall, so even then she's like you would be kissing her navel.
I mean, yeah,
without her consent.
Okay, I
that's the important bit.
She opens her mouth and releases a scream like a volcano, and bellowing and venting rage. Bodrum, you have ale dripping down your luscious locks and the flavor savers, as you call them, as you can bring them up future use. What is your course of action here?
So first of all, I now wish to be known as Bodrum the Thirsty, rather than the Grudge Keeper, since I earned my Ale House fame. So she's on one knee. What's within range of Iron Fist, my mace, my big ass mace?
So
what body parts are? I mean.
So you're pretty within close proximity to Arcanos, at least what it sounded like to a degree. So of that knee or the other leg that is standing?
Let's keep fucking that knee up. I'd like to keep her down on one knee. So even with her drop down on it, I'm just gonna go up and try and hit the same exact spot, just driving it down through the. Oh, there go my cat ears. Driving it down through my cat ears and through the kneecap. And what do I roll for that?
So you'll just make your attack roll.
And that's a D20.
I do want to mention Arcadios is crying, sobbing this whole time.
Is Bodrum a tabaxi?
A what?
Bodrum's a dwarf.
Oh, it's a dwarf. Oh, half dwarf, half tabaxi? Or are the cat ears on Bodrum also a fashion statement?
Just a fashion statement, yeah. 9 on the attack. That sucks.
So
not so level up after
you
all. Let's see, +2 mace, +11 attack. So that is a 20 on the attack, and then 1d6 +4 damage. Let's see. And that's a 6 +4 for 10 damage.
So she is still wailing, and as you smash your weapon down on her, it's just getting worse, and you hear something crackling inside
there
her
we
voice,
go.
like some type of very strange energies that are beginning to just make all of your hair stand on edge. These the ones that aren't braided and bound together. Silas.
All right, so boy, she's on one knee. Maybe it's turning around.
She's proposing.
They're gonna get married after all. No, so yeah, I would do the like. Can I backstab with a long sword?
I don't see why not.
You could, but you don't have a long sword in your armory. You just
Oh,
have you have a longbow and your dagger.
My brain did that thing where it saw part of a word. It was like,
understandable.
Yeah.
You start off with like a +3 dagger, so I assume you just want to use that.
Yeah, we're sticking with the dagger. Sorry for wasting time.
Oh, you're fine.
No, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
So can we assume that I go back into hiding and do exactly what I did before because it was fun?
She's aware of your presence, so you would need to really extricate yourself and reposition, because otherwise you're just kind of dancing around her and you lose that effect.
I mean, yeah.
If you want to take a whole round to kind of hide somewhere so she doesn't know where you are, you can get that backstab the following round.
I don't want to waste a round just to get the backstab again.
Hey, that's up to you, man.
How close am I to her eye meets?
Her eyes?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. But
you would need to climb her, and you could.
And I would be jealous.
I would say it would take, just due to the nature of the struggle, you would need to do a round of climbing, but then you could get around to like her neck and shoulders.
No,
your thief skill is one of them is climbing.
I don't want to waste a round. I just want to do some stabbing. Are there any joints or things where I could get a dagger into?
I mean, you just got knees, and you're so I mean, you could keep attacking these very bloodied, bruised knees.
Am I near the other leg where I could go after the Achilles tendon and just make sure she is not walking ever again?
You could do that. This is turning into some hostile stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But before the long talk, I had rolled my d20 and I got a 17, and I would like to keep that number if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, the AC on a giant is pretty low because they're huge. So.
Okay. All right, so. Yeah, it's 3 this time, so 3 + 5, and it's not doubled because I'm not backstabbing, which is stupid.
That is true. So you've got 8 there. Wow, this is actually pretty frightening how much damage you're doing on this. All right, so the giant, again, something also very uncanny and just unnatural about this giant not speaking any language except just screeching. And the whole black eyes and big teeth, and you're feeling like something bad is going to happen. So let's see what happens here. Yeah. So she thrusts a hand out. So you slash at her Achilles tendon, says she's one knee. So she reaches up behind her and she thrusts a hand towards you, Silas. Dang. So that is. Oh, shit. 26. All right, Silas. So you start sawing at her Achilles tendons, and she grabs you just like she would crush a mosquito, and she squeezes you in her fist, and you feel your joints begin to crack, and all your joints begin to pop. I need you to roll me a save versus petrification.
All right.
So
D20.
for you, that's a D20, and you're trying to get 7 or higher.
So what happens when it's waking something in me and I get hard? And by that I rolled a 1.
Okay. Then what I need you to do is I need you
We
to
are a
roll
horny
me.
bunch this evening.
I need you to roll me a D10.
D10. Where are you? There you are. That is a 7.
So, Bodrum and Arcanos Roca, the Mammoth Breaker, you hear bones snapping. You hear the sound of meat squelching. Silas, something horrible is happening to you as you feel your body contorting into a shape that it shouldn't be. You feel like you're being stretched and crushed at the same time. And you have a moment to, as you feel your lungs begin to rupture and pop like sour grapes, you have an opportunity to say something. What are your final words here?
Oh yeah, hi there, mommy.
We're going full giant.
So with that,
with it. I love it.
You have like a couple of words here. Is your body is being
harder, mommy,
starting to being like wrung out, and you
Good
hear the sound of metal shearing, and when she releases her grip, there is some type of like bloody smear on her hand, but there is nothing left that looks like Silas. Instead, there is a javelin in her hand that she then wipes off on her armor and puts it in a holster in her back.
That is hot to death.
With her other hand, she reaches out at you, Bodrum, and you see this hand closing in on you. Your armor class this round is 25. Does a 25 hit you? Yes, no?
Sorry, say that again.
Does a 25 hit you?
Let's see. My armor class. I also have an incredulity effect. Gain +1 to hit and +2 damage every time. Okay, that's every time I suffer damage. Blah blah blah. Okay, hang on. Armor class is 22.
All right. So you feel her hand closing around you, and you feel this armor that you've had your entire life, these things you fought for, beginning to be crushed like tin metal. I need you to roll me a save versus petrification, Bodrum.
And that's a D.
Is for you. That is a D20, and wow, as a dwarf, you're very hardy, so it's 4 and higher on the D20. So.
Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Oh, you motherfucker. 1 moment.
Don't tell me you also rolled a 1.
No. I'm just having difficulty with the old. There we go. Typing skills. That is. You are shitting me. That's a 2.
Jesus. All right, roll me D10. Oh, man.
Don't leave me alone with muscle, mommy.
Of all adventures to get a TPK on, I would not have it expected to be this one with a random encounter.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah.
All right, so roll me D10.
That's
Bodrum.
a 5.
You say it's a natural 5?
Yeah, 5.
So you are a dwarf with renowned. People refer to the size. Well, I mean, your cojones, being, how much gusto and bravado you have. So it is natural, as you're feeling your body being crushed, that you're being crushed into some form. As you're hearing like your own body being shorn and apart, do you have any final death cry as you are being...
Kink it up, my brother.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to say sexy lady give baby boner. And then, boom, I'm dead.
You're making me Picard palm here. All right, so you are crushed into a flail.
Cool.
I'm imagining it kind of like
I'm
like
imagining
a
it having
dire,
two, yeah,
like flail. That, you know, like,
just a big old pair of like mace heads.
Yep.
Attached by
It
chains.
seems
Wait.
apropos.
Do you hear it ting
what
from
kinda-
inside my armor?
What kind of heads are on the mace flails? Like, are they
All right.
actually metal, or are they like, you know?
No, all right. So
A chunk
we're
of
gonna
candy.
focus. We're gonna focus here because we were in the final few minutes here. So
Okay.
you're turned into a very brutal-looking flail, just as ugly and gnarled as you are, and she, for a second, even though she is bloodied and in pain, she smiles at this work of art. And then she trains her eyes on you, not Silas, Arcanos. It is your turn, Arcanos. Your party has been turned into weapons. And you are locked in mortal combat with the
Is she still on one knee?
Well, you're the only one. Yeah, she... Well,
is she still on one knee?
Yeah.
I'm going to... I'm going to take it cinematic.
Hadouken! No.
I'm going to turn, take a couple steps, launch, plant my feet on the boulder she split in half behind me, and use it to launch myself up and swing down on her skull with the hammer, with the wop maker.
All right, so make me your 3 attacks.
So, first one is coming right down on the top of her skull. That is... I don't know if that will hit. That is
remember, giant AC is low.
25.
That hits. Again,
that
giant. It's like missing the broadside of a barn.
The hits for an 18.
Hits
to
like
the
18
skull.
points damage.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As I land, I'm going to land, roll, and then use that momentum to spring up and uppercut her under the jaw with the hammer again.
What is your attack?
Is that real physics? Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure that out.
That's a 16.
There's no physics.
Okay, cool.
You say 16?
Yeah.
You hit.
All right, that is only a 16 that time.
Only a 16, but as you uppercut her jaw, you shatter. Roll me d6.
How many teeths?
1.
So that is you shatter 6 teeth because that is 6 plus 5 from that damage. So you shatter 6 of her many teeth. And
I drop the hammer as I am rising, pull out my sword, and plunge it into her eye.
Wow.
That is a 16 again.
You hit. You may not be able to get her in the eye because, again, she's still pretty high off the ground. But cinematically, you definitely hit her face.
And that is a 17, giving me a total of 14.
Oh, I've been doing the math.
51.
I've got a whole column worth of. So she is in very bad shapes. She is oozing blood from all kinds of wounds you've inflicted on her. The blood is very thick and ponderous, taking time to well up and drop in heavy beads, almost like molten lead. She cackles to herself as she takes her hands, and you can see like grimy smears from your 2 compatriots, and she begins to claw at you with her hands, trying to swipe and grasp you in at least one of her hands. All right, so that is... What's your armor
I always knew
class?
I'd wind up as a grimy smear.
My armor, it class is 18.
Okay, well, she gets you with both. So she ensnares you in both her hands. So I'm going to have you make 2 save versus petrification, one after the other, as you feel polymorphic magics coursicate through your bones.
Okay, that's a success there. And a natural 20 there.
All right. So you are able to break free from her grasp, and she is looking a little bit desperate and flustered. She looks very nervous and afraid. So let's. Oh, I see. We're getting close to time too. All right. So we'll see how this plays out. We might go a few minutes over to see who's going to win here.
And did she leave her glaive in the ground?
It was a giant gladius. So it is buried in the ground. It would probably not be feasible for you to get.
Okay. Okay. Just I had to check.
Who do you think you are over here?
So all right. So let's do those 3 attacks for time's sake. Just let me know what those 3 are, and we'll assume you're doing a whirlwind of very fancy.
Yeah. That's the fun part. The fun part is describing the fancy.
Oh, absolutely. I want to make sure you get your book plug at the end here.
21, 21, 14.
Okay, 14.
And 17.
Okay, so it was 14 hit and 17 hit as well? Yeah. All 3 of those hit, so roll me damage.
Okay. Let's see. What's 14 times 3? It's 40... 42?
Sure, 40. Don't you want to... You can roll each one separately.
Yeah, but they're each plus 14.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that is... 42 plus... That's 47, 48... 51 points of damage.
Fuck.
So, all right. So let's step one step back. So talking about cinematics, you've done 2 slashes. What is your last attack that you're doing?
Having landed 2 slashes, I kind of fall back panting, and I realize like this is it. Like it's me or my love, and this is going to decide it. Like, either I'm going to kill her, or she's going to kill me. Either way, we're going to make something out of the other. And so I rear back and just lob my sword straight for her.
Wow!
Your sword flies true and strikes her right in the bosom through the heart. She looks. She reaches her hands out as if she's grasping for something. And her teeth and her jaw moves as if she's trying to say something, but the life or the soul is just sucked out of her, and she collapses to the ground. There's this sound of raining metal of all the weapons fall from her body, including the new forms of your compatriots. So you are the sole survivor of many campaigns and of parties. You are the last person to survive. And you are able to carry the new forged forms of your 2 friends.
And once you've mastered us,
getting tattoos.
Yep.
So, with your infinite sorrow, you probably abandon your quest to hunt this wizard.
I wasn't even into that anyway.
It's true. You wanted to go to the tea plant. We should have gone to the fucking tea plantation, man.
The tea plantation, we'd be drinking tea now.
Well, if that son of a bitch hadn't started the fight, I wouldn't be dead.
I would like to think that
15 seconds or less. 15 seconds or less. What is it you do with the rest of your adventuring career, Arcanos Broca, the Mammoth Breaker?
Arcanos Roka, the Mammoth Breaker, ends up going east and joining a monastery, truly mastering various weapons in meditation, and ends his life as a pacifist who only uses combat as a means of meditation and self-reflection.
So you spend your years training, and you get bits of information of what happens in the world far away to the west. You hear some type of distant rumors of an evil wizard, some Sir Vider of the Barrows, who, after many years of questing, has assembled some type of heinous artifact that has awoken some ancient dragons of the apocalypse, and the whole continent to the west has been razed, all the way down to the Earth's crust and mantle. And soon enough that the destruction will sweep your side of the continent as well. But alas, you have lived and given yourself up to a life of pacifism, and so ends the world.
I stroke my pendant made of a giant's tooth, and remember the love that never flourished.
All right.
I also put the weapons in clothes and talk to them regularly.
So even though he got away, it was a TPK.
I guess, yes.
Because we fucking ended the world by not doing that right.
You know what? I was hoping that one of you would have rolled. It would have been a very rare chance, but we seem to get some odd rolls. There's one random encounter that could happen. It's a random encounter within a random encounter where you could bump into a Shoggoth.
Oh,
and I was like, cool. That's going to be the thing that's going to get a TPK.
I wouldn't have tried to have sex with the Shoggoth.
Probably.
I might have.
Man. You kind of carried the tone.
X card. No porking the cosmic horrors.
Desiree was a personal trainer when I met her. She hit me in my weak spot.
I will say though, I am excited about Michael Harmon and company's porking the void. Cyborg supplement, because I can't get over porking the void, and I love that phrase.
It's very good.
But
all right.
Okay, yes, I'm moving us out of
and Peaceful Viking Professor from which so are you one of the fantastic Night Owl authors, or did you also pre-back Old School and Cool 3?
Well,
I'm just assuming, because you would have to know. They knew the name of the giant being the Soulsmith.
Oh, that's dope.
That's nice.
Oh,
awesome. So,
fantastic job. I feel like I'm going to mispronounce your name. Is it Ozma? My speech impediment really struggles with pronouncing names properly. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for letting us experiment and run your adventure. And hopefully there will be a group of characters who is able to take down the heinous Survivor of the Barrows.
Oh man, I don't think there's going to be anybody out there who's going to take down the Soulsmith. That was brutal.
You should see the items and abilities that this NPC has. It is quite absurd. So perhaps we'll have to run this again, and we'll see if you fare any better, especially as you explore the strawberry fields and the strawberry farm and the tea plantation and all those other. Himsma, thank you so much.
Just don't.
Himsma. Thank you so much. Send our best to Wind.
Yeah.
And we look forward to, I know you've mentioned perhaps also running something else in the future. We'd love to, as long as you put up with our antics. So,
yeah,
we played some more serious games. Like when we played Ma Nishtana, I got got choked up and real serious about it. We are, on a serious note, I'm like 2 hours away from Uvalde, Texas.
From what?
Uvalde, Texas.
Oh.
My wife spent all day today answering questions about what happened down the road from us, essentially. So, shit has been heavy and serious, and sometimes, playing games like this where we can laugh and be fucking dumb. We were dumb tonight, y'all.
Well, like you said in the introduction, it's about an escape, No,
exactly. It was an opportunity to have fun, be dumb, crack jokes, and get out of our own heads for a little bit, which is so necessary.
Absolutely.
And playing super high level games like this, is perfect for that escape. This was so much fun.
It really was.
I had an absolute blast. Mr. Paschke, you always bring the goddamn fire. You always bring such good characters.
Every time. I get just one tear right here from from the voice or like some goddamn thing you do. And Mr. Servas, you're so patient. You really are like
No, it's so hard in such a short time because I'm like, I want to explore all of these rabbit holes. So it's hard because you guys have the best creativity, and I'm like, if we need to have like a long play episode of something.
We do.
It's hard.
I've also thought about us having like a free swim episode where we don't have to, like, where we can just talk about stuff that we're grooving on game wise or whatever. Maybe we'll do one of those every so often, like special occasion or something. But if you out there, if you out there at home enjoyed that, then I strongly recommend in any of our social posts from tonight, you'll find a link to pick up Old School and Cool Volume 3. Don't lose your head. From Night Owl Publishing, from Ahimsa Kemper, and I can't remember Dragon Stabber's real name, but you can find him on Twitter at Dragon Stabber because, it's a great book from a great company. We endorse it.
Absolutely.
And you should go check it out. And if you want to find this here humble podcast or any of our other socials, you can find us on Twitter at WanMoncast, or you can just go to wanmoncast.com for our socials, our author bios. And John, why don't you tell us the exciting things?
Well, first, you can also find reviews on wanmoncast.com.
Yes.
Every Monday, I review a book from the Morkborg series
Mondays.
of books, Morkborg Mondays. And on Fridays, I review some indie, sometimes not indie, book of things I have hard copies of. Tomorrow, I will be reviewing Riverbend, which I will eventually run for these guys here. It's a very cool game.
I'd love to, yeah.
So the thing that Charles is alluding to, though, is on Monday next week. So before the next time you see me, I have a new book coming out. It is The Jungles of Habael in my new Splatterpunk series. It actually goes hand in hand with Level X, as it is about a ancient dragon, his succubus friend, his Kappa and Satyr friend, wrecking shop and taking war to fallen angels. They're like high-level characters, super powerful, dealing with super-powered baddies. It is pulp fantasy, so lots of fun and lots of gore and lots of splatter because it's still me. Yep. Also, if you don't have it yet, you can get on itch.io for only $1 at the moment. We're going to be hiking the price up soon.
Yay.
But Godless League Adventures, which is, again, another just overpowered game.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a really cool game. I really recommend it. Ian and I worked on that together, so I think that's everything. Like I said, OneMonCast.com, you can get all of our stuff.
One more thing.
Oh, yes.
Next week is also the release date of the first volume of my duology.
Yep.
Arcanum. The first volume is called Initiation.
It is on screen now.
It's what?
Yeah, I put the picture on the screen.
Oh, okay, cool. And it is the first half of a 10-card Celtic Cross tarot spread. Each card is designed and illustrated by Offenmoser, is where you can find her on Instagram, Astrid K. Mickelson. You can also find her as @SemiSponge on Twitter. She's great. Her art is great. The book is great. If I do say so myself, Volume 2 should be coming out later this year. And I'm also happy to announce John and I are getting multiple married. We're going to be married to each other, and he's going to be married to Desiree, but I'm just going to be married to him. No, actually, I've signed a contract. Yes, I've signed a contract to release another book with Madness Heart Press. I'm very excited.
Yes, you did.
That'll be coming out next year, and it is called He Led Us into the Wilderness and Spoke to Us. It's the one that, if you know me, I've been talking about as the Jonestown book, because it centers around the events in Jonestown, Guyana, November 18th, 1978. And that's all I got.
I will say the cover art for that book is probably going to be done by TTRPG wizard, Old Raging Barbarian.
I'm so stoked.
So it's gonna, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, very cool.
This has been a blast. I feel like we're just kind of like dragging it out now because we just want to hang out and don't want the night to end. But
prolonging the magic.
Fortunately, some of us need to sleep. Some of us need to like get better, and some of us have to write reviews for games. Friends, thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey that we call Wandering Monster. My name is John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
I was the soul smith that did a partial TPK.
I am Mr. Bashki.
We will return next week. Until then, check out onemomcast.com. Stay safe, but, stay scared.